let's start. Let's start locomotion and reproduction in protozoa. Chapter locomotion and reproduction in protozoa. Okay, so then let's come through the first module here. In this module, we learn about the introduction of locomotion and reproduction in protozoa. So, what is locomotion? What is locomotion? Locomotion means the movement of organism from one place to the another place. Okay, we'll discuss. Let's start here. That locomotion and reproduction. These two are the unique features of any living organism. Any living organism, we say the two unique features, they are locomotion as well as reproduction. Let us see what is meant by locomotion. What is locomotion? The movement of organism from one place to the another place. The voluntary movements of organism from one place to the another place, we say locomotion. So why does an organism perform the locomotion? What is the reason to say that organism is showing locomotion? That organism perform the locomotion in the search of food, in the search of mate, in the search of shelter, and to escape from the predator, to escape from the predators. So for the search of food, mate, shelter, to escape from the predator, any organism is going to show the locomotion. Okay. So then the locomotion is influenced by both external stimuli as well as internal stimuli. Locomotion is influenced by both external stimuli and internal stimuli. Okay, so animals exhibit locomotory movements like walking, running, climbing, crawling, flying, likewise. Here, just showing here that it doesn't mean so you don't know this. So walking, running, climbing, crawling, and the flying. So all these are said to be the various types of locomotion, locomotory movements of organisms. So in different animals, different types of locomotory structures are present. These structures are also useful for food collection. These structures are also useful for food collection. Then for example, we are talking about protista, that means protozoa, such as amoeba, in case of amoeba, and in case of paramecium, that amoeba is having the locomotory organelles called pseudopodia, isn't it? Then in paramecium, cilia are present here. In these organisms, the food collection also, that locomotory organelles are used for the food collection also. Okay. Next, all locomotions are movements, but all movements are not locomotion. All locomotions are movements, but all movements are not locomotions. How? Let us see. Let's see an example here. Let's go for an example. What is this? Just shaking hands. Can we say it as locomotion? There is a movement, but that is not locomotion. Only movement is there. Okay, so then it's an act of process of moving. Okay, the fan showing movement. If you say fan is moving, moving movement is there, but can we say that fan is showing locomotion? It will go from Hyderabad to Vijayawada. So just fan will move, but not showing locomotion. Here in the down, you can see camel is moving from one place to the another place. So that's why our statement is justified. So what is the statement? All the locomotions, that all the locomotions are movements, but all movements cannot be a locomotion. So the movement occurring in the whole body of animal, taking it from one place to the another place, then only we can call it as locomotion. A movement occurring in the whole body of animals, taking it from one place to the another place can be considered as locomotion. Okay, we have some questions here in the end of each and every PowerPoint. We have some questions, so we can expect. I think we can expect. I can expect some answers from you even. We have a question here. Which of the following is a unique feature of most of the animals?
Locomotion.
Yeah, okay, very good. That shows you are listening, that you are participating in the class. Locomotion is stimulated by external stimuli, internal stimuli, both, and for mechanical stimuli.
Both.
Both, sir.
Both.
Both. Very good. All
Both,
right.
sir. Both, sir.
Okay, very good, very good. The movement from one place to the another place of an organism is called body motion, orientation, locomotion, and
Locomotion.
Locomotion.
Locomotion, sir.
very good, locomotion.
Locomotion.
Hope so till the end of chapter you people will do answer like this only, because these are the basic questions, but in coming days we are going to get good enough questions. Which of the following helpful for locomotion in protozoa? Forelimbs, flagella, hindlimbs, wings.
Flagella.
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 Okay. Thank you. Okay, next we'll go to the second module here. Second module. Then about the locomotion and reproduction, the second module, we are now moving. So just a sharp split of 30 seconds gap. We'll go to the modules 1 to the 2. So we came to the module 2. So in this module, we learn about introduction set 2, cell introduction. Then reproduction, the offspring grow, mature, and become adult, then produce offsprings again. What do you say this as? Reproduction. The biological process in which an organism gives rise to young ones that similar to itself for continuation of its race, we say it as reproduction. We call it as reproduction. Okay. So then that it is a continuous process here. An offspring will grow and mature and it will become adult, and then that reproduce again and that produce the offsprings again. So it is a continuous process, we can say. The production of individuals by an organism, we say reproduction. So that facilitates the generation. There is a continuity of the species. There is a continuity of species to the generation, one generation to the next generation. So the organism's habitat and its internal morphology and other factors are responsible for its mode of reproduction. So basically reproduction is of two types: asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction as well as sexual reproduction. Let us see what is asexual reproduction. The division of parent into daughter individuals, we say asexual reproduction. Division of a parent into daughter individuals, we say asexual reproduction. Here you can see the diagram like so. The reproduction without fission of pronuclei. That means fission of pronuclei is called sexual reproduction. The union of haploid male and female gametes, we say it as sexual reproduction. You see here, the two nuclei are going to fuse each other. This process, fission of male and female gametes, takes place to produce a diploid zygote which develops into new organism. Okay, so came to the end of this introduction, and let's start the questions. Union of haploid male and female gametes is called
Sexual reproduction.
Sexual
Sexual
reproduction, sir.
reproduction.
very good. Sexual reproduction.
Sexual reproduction.
Yeah. The reproduction without fission of pronuclei is called
Asexual reproduction.
Asexual reproduction.
without fission of pronuclei is called asexual
Asexual
reproduction.
reproduction.
Very good. Okay, then let's move to the module. The next module, we'll move to the next module here. Where is it? Where we went through? Yeah, okay. Let's go to the module 3. In this module, we're going to learn about the locomotion in protozoa. Locomotion in protozoa. So we said already the locomotion means movement of organism from one place to the another place. So here it is called phylum protozoa earlier, that now according to NCERT will have the name for this is kingdom protista. Whatever it is, the kingdom protista or protozoa, we use both terms along the length of the chapter, that in both locomotion and reproduction. So first of all, let us see the protozoan characteristic features. Protozoans are said to be unicellular organisms. They are single-celled organisms. That means if you take amoeba or euglena, the known animals of this area we are talking about, excuse me, euglena and paramecium, that in all of them, in all these organisms, so that we can see that in all these we'll find a single common concept, that is, this is paramecium which I am showing to you. In all these we can see that common concept. What is that? That is unicellular organisms, single-celled organisms with one or more nuclei. You see, in case of amoeba, one nucleus present. In case of euglena, two nuclei present. And if you come to the paramecium, that there are so euglena, we have only one nucleus. If we come to the paramecium, I'll draw the paramecium here. That we have two nuclei, macronucleus and micronucleus. Okay. So then, that eukaryotic organisms. What is eukaryotic? We discussed this about this earlier. Eukaryotic. That means a nuclear material surrounded by nuclear membrane. Distinct nucleus presence, we say eukaryotic. Nucleus surrounded by the distinct nuclear membrane. What do you call it as? Eukaryotic nature. Bacteria are prokaryotic. They don't have distinct nuclear. Mostly microscopic, that you can't see all these organisms with naked eye. You need to use the microscope. Amoeba, euglena, paramecium, whatever. They may be free living or parasitic. Whatever I drawn here, amoeba, euglena, paramecium, all these are free living. We have some parasites also. Well-known parasites are there, like entamoeba, histolytica, like Plasmodium vivax, which cause malaria. That all these are from this particular phylum only. So versatile in locomotion. There is huge speciality that we are going to learn. So protoplasm divide up of outer ectoplasm, inner endoplasm. Protoplasm is divide up of outer ectoplasm, inner endoplasm. In any organism, you can see the same. So if I am showing paramecium here, that you can see the protoplasm is divide up of outer ectoplasm, inner endoplasm. Anywhere, if you take euglena, in euglena, cytoplasm or protoplasm, divide up of outer ectoplasm, inner endoplasm. Okay, so we'll go for details in the coming classes. Ectoplasm and inner endoplasm. So nucleus may be two types, as I shown to you in paramecium, macronucleus and micronucleus. If I show you in paramecium, paramecium is having two nuclei. What are they? Macronucleus and micronucleus. Macro means larger in size, micro smaller. We'll go in detail when coming. That in the whole chapter we are going to learn all these animals in detail, no problem. In a few species, the cells are surrounded by shells. In few species, the cells are surrounded by shell. I'll show that particular species. If you take Elphidium, a marine protozoan, that is surrounded by a calcium carbonate shell, that it is having reticulopodia type of pseudopodia, that having locomotory organelles or pseudopodia. These are the pseudopodia. But this is a body shell, the calcium carbonate shell. Body is completely surrounded by calcium carbonate shell. Okay, this is the shell. So that is a speciality of them. So that actinophrys is there. Actinophrys is having siliceous shell. That shell made up of silica. So that what do you say, in few species the cells are surrounded by shells. Next. The contractile vacuoles may be present, mostly present in case of freshwater protozoans. This feature is exclusive for freshwater protozoans. So this is common for all freshwater protozoans, like amoeba, which we are taken now, like amoeba, like euglena. So I am showing paramecium to you. There are two contractile vacuoles are present. This is contractile vacuole, we can say contractile vacuole. What is the function? The freshwater protozoans will face a problem called endoosmosis. That means due to the concentration difference with the surrounding environment, water will enter inside the body. So through the cell membrane, water enters inside the body. So whatever the excess water who entered in the body is eliminated by this contractile vacuole. Eliminated by contractile vacuole. Not only in paramecium, you can see in euglena. In the euglena also, you can see this, a contractile vacuole present. They also face the same problem, that water enters inside. We call technically endoosmosis. Technical name will remain in ecology chapter. But at present, you just need to see, because of their surrounding environment, they are facing a problem that water is coming inside. So that is solved by the contractile vacuole. Okay. So if you take amoeba, amoeba is also having contractile vacuole. So whatever the water problem they have, that is solved by this contractile vacuole. Okay. Next. So what is their function? They remove excess water. Contractile vacuole for the removal of excess water. And food vacuoles are present. So what is the function of food vacuole? Used for digestion. Food vacuoles are used for digestion. Let's take some examples which I am showing, which I am saying from the beginning. Amoeba proteus. Euglena, slide view. In microscope, when you see in the slide, you can see euglena like this. Sorry, trypanosoma like this. Trypanosoma gambiense is a parasite. Okay. If we see by the diagram, we'll draw like this. Trypanosoma gambiense. It's a parasite. Euglena. Here it is, euglena. Paramecium. Verticella. Verticella, special animal, bell-shaped, we say, bell animalcule, we can say, and which attaches to the substratum, stationary organism, that doesn't move, sedentary, stationary organism. So then Chlamydomonas, which contain two flagella, you can see there. This is also slide view, Plasmodium vivax, which cause malaria, that is also protozoan. Yes, let's start. The ectoplasm and endoplasm are formed from?
Protoplasm.
Very good. Protoplasm. Food vacuoles in protozoans are used for?
Digestion.
Very good. Digestion.
Digestion.
Yes. That's it. And we'll move with the third module. Let me go with. So in module 4, we're going to learn about the locomotion in protozoa set 2. Here we're going to learn about the different kinds of locomotory organelles. The free-living aquatic protozoans move through the water, whereas parasitic forms move through the body fluids of their host. Simply, we are going to say that free-living organisms are going to live in the water and they swim in the water. Parasitic forms like Plasmodium, Entamoeba, the Plasmodium swim in our blood. So that's what I is saying, move through the body fluids of their host, they are saying. The many protozoans move independently by cellular extension, like pseudopodia, cilia, and flagella. The major locomotory organelles, they are pseudopodia, cilia, and flagella. Pseudopodia, cilia, and flagella. The myonemes are also that accessory locomotory organelles, we can say. We'll discuss myonemes in the end. So that accessory, additional locomotory organelle, but major locomotory organelles are three: pseudopodia, cilia, and flagella. Along with that, some having contractile fibrils also. So here we are going to discuss the three types of locomotion which was done by amoeboid locomotion, ciliary locomotion, flagellary locomotion. That ciliary locomotion is done by cilia. Okay, so that you can see one of the best example is paramecium. Then amoeboid locomotion, that is about the pseudopodia present in the amoeba, the false foot. The type of locomotion with pseudopodia is called amoeboid locomotion. And a shapeless animal, amoeba. Next, the flagellar locomotion. Then the flagellar locomotion you can see in case of euglena. Euglena, this is the flagella. Okay, this is the flagella. So that's it. Amoeba, the pseudopodia, euglena, flagella, and paramecium, cilium. The types of locomotion in protozoa, that in that the first one, amoeboid locomotion, we said that amoeboid locomotion was done by pseudopodia. Okay, amoeboid locomotion was done by pseudopodia. Then swimming locomotion. That swimming locomotion is performed by both flagella and cilia. Flagella and cilia. Examples for that, we can take euglena as well as paramecium. Euglena and paramecium. Then the gliding locomotion, the myonemes. If anyone show the locomotion with myonemes, we say such kind of locomotion is called gliding locomotion. You can see in a euglena that myonemes and euglena itself. I'll show you that myonemes in euglena in plasmodium. Okay, so when time comes, okay, that now we'll see once and then after we'll go afterwards that this is the euglena. As I already said, this is flagella, isn't it? This is flagella. Okay. So then along with the flagella, we can see along the length of the body, we'll find some myonemes in the body. And in the coming diagrams also you're going to observe these myonemes. If you take plasmodium, the sporozoid stage of the plasmodium, it is having the special kind of fibrils, what you call contractile microfibrils, we use it to say that with the help of contractile microfibrils, it shows the locomotion. Okay, so this black one which I drawn, that is microfibrils. Okay, so then let's continue here. What is meant by pseudopodia? Now that we'll discuss about the pseudopodia, then one after another we'll go for the temporary extensions of the cytoplasm that develops in the direction of movement. That is called pseudopodia. Temporary extension, the key word. Why it is called pseudopodia? Because that is temporary extension. Temporary extension of cytoplasm that develops in the direction of movement is called pseudopodia. Is said to be a pseudopodia. Okay. Next. These structures are useful to move on the substratum as our legs do. These structures are useful to move on substratum as our legs do. That hence we call them as pseudopodia. Pseudo means false, poda means feet. Generally, many pseudopodia arise from the surface of the body and the condition we call it as polypodial. What is polypodial? If you take amoeba as an example, you can see many pseudopodia are present. The presence of many pseudopodia, we call the condition as polypodial. Example, amoeba itself, amoeba. You see that there are so many pseudopodia present. All these are pseudopodia. So generally, many pseudopodia arise from the surface of the body and the condition is called polypodial. So you need to remember the examples: polypodial, amoeba, proteus. In some individuals, single pseudopodium developed from the surface of the cell body and the condition called monopodial. That will take example Elphidium. Elphidium is one of the example here. It contains only one pseudopodia. Okay, so this is a pseudopodia, Elphidium. Okay, so then, sorry, Elphidium I said, sorry, Entamoeba histolytica. entamoeba histolytica. Okay, so this is the entamoeba. In entamoeba, we have only one pseudopodium is present, that we say it as monopodial. Okay, now let's move. Entamoeba histolytica. So that is a protozoan parasite. We have a full details. We are going to learn about the entamoeba histolytica in the coming classes in the other chapter, biology and human welfare. So that finally, what we said, there are two types of pseudopodia based on the number. That one is monopodial and other is polypodial. Having single pseudopodia, we can say monopodial. Example, entamoeba histolytica. Okay, so one pseudopodia is present. If many pseudopodia are present, we say that feature as polypodial. Example, amoeba proteus. Okay, let's continue. The superclass Sarcodina, which contains pseudopodia. That superclass in phylum Protozoa, superclass Sarcodina is having this pseudopodia. When it comes to the class Rhizopodia, address we are giving, and some few mastigophore. Actually, mastigophores are having flagella, but some mastigophores are having both flagella and amoeba, pseudopodia also. That we'll discuss. Mastigamoeba, we used to say. The class Actinopodia. Okay, in superclass Sarcodina, class Rhizopodia, and class Actinopodia are exhibiting this pseudopodia. Okay, so very special that we are talking about mastigamoeba. So mastigamoeba contains pseudopodia as well as flagella. Just for general knowledge, mastigamoeba contain both pseudopodia and flagella. The chief functions of pseudopodia are locomotion, as well as they are helpful for capture of prey. They are even helpful for the capture of prey. Pseudopodia have distinct appearances. Based on their structure and form, pseudopodia are four types. Based on their structure and form, pseudopodia are of four types: lobopodia, reticulopodia, Filopodia, and Axopodia. Lobopodia, Filopodia, Reticulopodia, Axopodia. There are four types of pseudopodia which you people need to repeat them continuously. So then let's talk about lobopodia. Example for lobopodia: amoeba proteus as well as entamoeba histolytica. Then Filopodia, Euglypha and Lecetium. This is the Euglypha. Then Reticulopodia, Elphidium and Globigerina. Then Axopodia, Actinophrys and Actinosphaerium. And these are all the examples here. We need to learn little bit more. As I already said to you, there are four types of pseudopodia, and along with that some information that in case of lobopodia, the pseudopodia look like blunt finger-like pseudopodia. They are blunt finger-like pseudopodia. Here the pseudopodia are called blunt finger-like pseudopodia. Okay, so example, if you take amoeba or if you take entamoeba, so in both cases, you see that how the pseudopodia are present. Pseudopodia are blunt and finger-like pseudopodia. Okay, next, when it comes to the Filopodia, the branched pseudopodia are present here. If you take Euglypha as an example, here you can see the pseudopodia are branched. Okay, so example, Euglypha and Lecetium, we said. Okay, next, Reticulopodia, Elphidium, as earlier I said over, contain calcareous shell on the body and having minute pores on the body surface. That all these are the pores. From the pores, pseudopodia will come out and they form a net-like structure here. They're going to form a net-like structure. So these are called reticulopodia. Reticulum itself meaning network, net-like pseudopodia. Okay. Next, in case of Axopodia, that Elphidium, that Actinophrys is one of the example here. So why should we have a diagram? Let us see. That Actinophrys, we say Actinophrys. You see, this is the Actinophrys. That Sun ray-like pseudopodia. See this, how the pseudopodia are present. Ray-like pseudopodia. Sun ray-like pseudopodia are present. Okay. So we'll go over some questions and then after we'll discuss, we'll make some notes of this chapter, this particular 4 types of pseudopodia. Amoeboid locomotion by pseudopodia is present in. You have 4 options: Euglena, Paramecium, Plasmodium, Amoeba.
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 Very good.
Amoeba.
Amoeba.
Okay, very good. Example for monopodial pseudopodium.
Calmid.
Entamoeba histolytica.
Entamoeba
histolytica.
Very good. Entamoeba histolytica.
Entamoeba histolytica.
One of the types of pseudopodia is
Philopodia.
Philopodia.
Phyllopodia, sir.
Philopodia.
Philopodia. Very good. Very good. That's it. We'll make some notes for this. First of all, we'll make some notes that 4 types of pseudopodia we said. Then for 4 types of pseudopodia, based on the form and based on the number we classified. Okay, so I request all of you after the completion of this to take screenshot based on number. Based on number. So we classified the pseudopodia as 2. What are they? Number 1, monopodial, and number 2, polypodial. Yeah, okay. So let's talk about this. Number 1, monopodial. Example, so we'll write the theoretical information also. Single pseudopodium is present. So what do you say it as? Single pseudopodium is present. Monopodial. We consider it as monopodial. If many pseudopodium are present, that is said to be polypodial condition. That many pseudopodia are present here. We just see that pseudopodia are present here. So example for monopodial is
Entamoeba histolytica.
very good. Example for single pseudopodium, Entamoeba histolytica. That's a parasite actually, living in our large intestine. In human large intestine only you can see this parasite. Okay, so the example for many pseudopodia.
Amoeba proteus.
Yeah, very good. Amoeba proteus. Amoeba proteus. Okay. Next, based on the form and size, based on the type of formation and size, that we classify that the pseudopodia based on the form, size. Size means formation. Simply if we write formation, everything it will cover. Based on formation, 4 types. If you say formation, it will cover everything. Shape, size, everything. Okay, so let's write. The 4 types of pseudopodia are present here. 4 types of pseudopodia. What are they?
Lobopodia.
Yeah, very good. Lobopodia. Reticulopodia.
Oxopodia.
Yes, Philopodia. Then
Oxopodia.
Reticulopodia, Philopodia, and then
Oxopodia.
Axopodia. Axopodia. No need to maintain the order. That means you should write like this only. That nothing is there. Example for Lobopodia.
Entamoeba histolytica and Amoeba proteus.
Very good. Amoeba proteus and Entamoeba
histolytica.
Yeah. How does this pseudopodia present?
Blunt
Plant-like legs.
Yeah, blunt finger-like pseudopodia. Then how does the reticulopodia present?
Net-like structure.
Net-like
net-like
pseudopodia. Okay, Philopodia. About Philopodia. They are branched. Next, about Axopodia.
Ray-like structure.
Ray-like pseudopodia. Okay, very good. Next, Lobopodia. Examples. We write examples now. Amoeba
proteus.
Amoeba proteus and Entamoeba.
Entamoeba histolytica.
Yeah, very good. Entamoeba histolytica.
Histolytica.
Amoeba proteus and Entamoeba histolytica. Okay, so we have two examples to write that entamoeba histolytica. Next, reticulopodia. Examples for reticulopodia.
Globigerina
Elphidium
and
globigerina.
Filium.
Yeah, correct.
Globigerina.
Elphidium and globigerina. Okay, Elphidium and globigerina. So only thing here you need to practice. That's why I said this yesterday also. Yes, next Philopodia. Example for Philopodia.
Euglypha
Lecithium.
lecithium.
Very good, very good. For this response only I explained little bit yesterday even. So Axopodia. Example for
Actinophyres
Actinophrys.
actinosporium. Actinosporium.
Actinophrys and Actinosporium.
Actinosporium.
You can write one more is there, collosum, but no matter. Two are enough for us. Actinophrys and Actinosporium. Okay, so just remember like this. Lobopodia. That I request all of you to take the screenshot of this. Lobopodia, blunt finger-like pseudopodia, and example amoeba proteus and entamoeba histolytica. Reticulopodia, net-like pseudopodia, examples Elphidium and Globigerina. Philopodia, branched pseudopodia, and example Euglypha and Lecithium. Axopodia, ray-like pseudopodia, example Actinophrys and Actinosporium. This is very, very, very important in the form of IP examination. That 4 marks question will get here. The 4 marks question, when it comes, this particular, the box is enough. That we can, if we write like this, that will be enough. Okay. So I think you had all taken the screenshot of these. Okay. Then let's continue. Came to the module 5. Okay, so in module 5, what we are learning here about the information about the pseudopodia. The finger-like tubular cylindrical pseudopodia with rounded tips. The finger-like tubular cylindrical pseudopodia with rounded tips. Properties of the pseudopodia. What do you call them as? Lobopodia. So there you can see there, blunt finger-like pseudopodia are present everywhere, either in amoeba or entamoeba. Entamoeba is not shown clearly, but amoeba you can see. Everywhere we can see that similar kind of pseudopodia, blunt finger-like pseudopodia. Okay, next. So examples, we have two, amoeba proteus and entamoeba histolytica. Next, the slender filamentous pseudopodia tapering from the base to tip. The slender filamentous pseudopodia, the tapering from the base to tip, that which contain only ectoplasm, but nowadays no matter. That's the slender filamentous tapering. What is meant by tapering? You see here the pseudopodia will become pointed when it comes to the end. In that way, that will tapering from the base to tip. In that way they said it over. Okay, the slender filamentous pseudopodia, the tapering. So I just given a keyword for this, that branched pseudopodia. Okay, so that one that you remember, that is enough for us. Examples: Euglypha and Lecithium. Reticulopodia. These are also called Rhizopodia or Mixopodia. Then these are filamentous, branch, profusely interconnected to form a network. But I think for every pseudopodia, I gave some keyword, not to confuse between. That network-like pseudopodia, we can say. That reticulum means itself network. Okay, so these are very common in Foraminiferan, order Foraminifera. In order Foraminifera, it is very common. Okay, so then rhizopods with calcareous shell. With example for this reticulopodia, Elphidium. As I said earlier, that Elphidium is having as that. Yeah, we can see clearly here. Let me draw here that Elphidium is having a calcareous shell. Surround the body, a calcareous shell is present. So you see, this is a network like pseudopodia, which arises from here through the minute pores. That every body is having pores, many holes in our general language. So, what is the specialty of this particular Elphidium? It is in marine water actually. The primary function is ingestion of food and locomotion is the secondary function. That means these are pseudopodia. Okay, no need to move. Just if it forms pseudopodia, when water is going, the food materials are itself going to be dropped in between them. Is going to be trapped and trapped in this pseudopodia. So that's why we can say their primary function is food taking. That secondary function is locomotion. Means what I mean, so there is no need to show locomotion actually. Just if they form pseudopodia, food itself will come and trap in that area. So that whatever I just gave a keyword for you, net-like pseudopodia, that we need to remember. Elphidium is one of the good example for that. Okay, next. This is the diagram, Elphidium. Globigerina is another one. The fine needle-like pseudopodia radiating from the surface of the body, principally axopodia, are food-collecting organelles. Locomotion, here also the secondary function. Axopodia, we say that these pseudopodia are present in Heliozoon, order Heliozoon and order Radiolarians. Actinophores and Actinosphaerium, whatever we said, that is from Heliozoon. Radiolarian, we have another example, Collosum. Okay, so Collosum, no matter, just what I said that you need to follow. Earlier I gave notes to you. Just follow through that particular notes, that's all. Okay, so that's it. The Elphidium and Actinophores, Actinosphaerium. Should remember, Actinophores and Collosum. Collosum is not required for us. We'll end up, let's give the story end here with some questions. The pseudopodia in Radiolarians. Pseudopodia in Radiolarians. Okay, nobody answered. Axopodia.
Sir.
They are no matter actually. That Reticulopodia are also called as
Reticulopodia.
Mixopodia.
very good.
Mixopodia.
Mixopodia.
Mixopodia. That's it. Here